Now, the star of the show really is the tomato here. I have all kinds of fun tomatoes. Some of them I've grown and some of them I haven't. They have been washed in advance. I cheated and did that already. Um, but just so you know, sometimes it is difficult to wash tomatoes thoroughly, and especially if you aren't going to be able to cook them, right? Like for a sauce, if you've got a deeper crack and you're not feeling good about eating that, you're like, maybe there's bacteria in there that I wasn't able to wash off. It's okay to cut that off, right? By all means, feel free to compost it or, dispose of it in a way that you feel good about. Um, but food safety is never a bad thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to quarter our tomatoes just because it will be slightly easier to remove the stems that way or have them depending on the size. Cut off my funky bit here and drop them into a blender, a food processor, any way that you're going to chop them up. Now, I was thinking, what if somebody doesn't have a blender, a food processor? What else could they use? You can even use a stick blender, but what I would do is at least quarter the tomatoes. And you may want to have a little bit of extra liquid in there. So you might want to swap out one of the tomatoes for, a V8 or some sort of a tomato juice like that, just so that you have a good option for you. So we're quartering 6, 7 tomatoes. It obviously also depends a little bit on the size of the tomato, but this is a super flexible recipe, which is wonderful. Use up that produce that might be plaguing you. Get your hands involved. Just trim out the stems here. Um, One of the nice things about this recipe also is we have a little bit of olive oil. And one of the reasons why that is a nice thing is because in addition to the tomatoes, we also have peppers have some vitamin A in them, and that is a fat soluble vitamin. And when we have a fat soluble vitamin, helps us to take better advantage of it when we have a little bit of fat in the recipe. Um, Also, you could think of that as a vote in favor of salad dressing. If you like dressings on your salad, there is a good reason to eat that. Got a cherry tomato here. We'll just toss that in whole, and we'll do another one of these big old tomatoes. We grew a lot of fun produce this year because my kids got involved in the gardening. So you can see this one's sort of like purple and red. And then my peppers are actually green and purple. Now, unfortunately, we do not remember what we planted. So I don't know if that pepper is going to be spicy or not, but when you're choosing your pepper, be smarter than I am and, choose accordingly. If you like spicy foods, great. You can go for a spicy pepper. If you do not, you can absolutely go for a sweeter bell pepper kind of a situation. Um, you know, you could even, don't tell anybody I said this, but you could even leave out the pepper. If you really hate peppers, this is your food and nobody's going to come to your house and beat down your door. So you could absolutely try it um, just without any peppers in it. Now, to pump up the flavor, in addition to our little peppers here, um, we are going to have some onion, at about half of an onion, and we're going to have a clove of garlic. Garlic is always so fun to cook with because you get to smash the clove. So, if you need to get crazy and smash 2 cloves, you can do that too. Sometimes people worry about the onion being really harsh because it's raw, but especially if you, sorry if that was a loud smack, especially if you let it sit overnight, that will help to mellow the onion flavor just a little bit because the acidity will temper that onion. And of course, it will also be diluted here. So I'm peeling my onion, cutting off the end, and then having it so it's easy to peel. And then just to be nice to my blender and so you guys don't have to watch me blend for too long, I'm quartering it. And now we have my cucumber. Oh, I don't know if you guys can see this little guy on my plate here, but there is a tiny, tiny baby potato that made it in here as well. I'm also going to just chunk up this cucumber here, try and fit it in with all the veggies. Now, one nice thing about drinking your veggies is it's easy to take in a lot of them. Um, Sometimes when I'm eating salad, there's a lot of air involved, and it's a little hard to tell how much exactly I've taken in. And we do not have that issue when I'm eating gazpacho. It is, honestly easy to take in quite a volume. All right, so coming back around to my oil, I've got about a quarter cup of olive oil. I'm gonna measure it because why not? Just for funsies. You guys know I'm usually lazy, but today I'll unlaze myself. Um, and then this is a quarter cup measure. In a quarter cup, you have 4 tablespoons. So I'm gonna measure ish a tablespoon just by doing about a quarter of my quarter cup here. Now, I think in a perfect world, I'm supposed to be using sherry vinegar for this. However, with all of the other amazing flavors going on here, my taste buds personally cannot tell the difference between sherry, white vinegar, rice vinegar. And so I just use the cheap stuff for this recipe. It is not authentic, it is inspired. Um, and we'll thank the culture and then tailor it to my budget. I'm also going to add a little sprinkle of salt, starting with between a quarter and a half teaspoon here in my hand. Now, there's a lot of acidity in here, so we could probably get away with more, but I'd rather do less rather than more salt because, you can always add, you can't really subtract. Then easiest recipe demonstration of my life, all we have to do is blend. I don't know if this is going to be terribly loud for you guys or if Teams will actually mute me and get rid of that background noise. So I am just going to mute myself, sing amongst yourselves, and I'll be back in 1 second. And I'm back. Wouldn't it be funny if I forgot to unmute myself though? All right, so here we have a wonderful volume of gazpacho. It's a fun color, um, and I'm going to have it sit in my fridge for a little while. So to store it, I could put it in a glass jar, but wait, there's more. If you don't have glass jars and you get yogurt, right? You get things that come in containers with lids, you can always reuse those. So, there's a piece of me that really resents wanting, having to buy things just to live well. And so I like thinking about what do I not have to buy that can also be useful for me. If you don't have time to chill down your gazpacho before you eat it, there's no law against pouring it over ice. You can always do that and just make it work for you. Now, I am going to show how I would serve this just for funsies here. I'm going to serve it in a glass just because why not? There's a little bit of texture left to it. And then because I'm not going to put on croutons or egg or more cucumber or any of that, I'm going to have this with a whole dinner, not just on its own. I am going to serve it with a variety of garnishes. So I find that I can really get my family to eat vegetables or anything that they were not that interested to eat if I let them decorate it themselves or if it comes decorated. So, what I have here is I've got edible flowers. I don't know how well you can see this, but we've got some little pansies here, and we've got basil, and we've got parsley, right? And if you just have this, hopefully you guys can see that okay, it's a little bit boring. It's like, why is mom serving us orange fiesta? Um, what is this? But if I take it and I add a cute little basil and a couple of flowers, and I swear flowers just make everything more enticing and exciting. Let's see, I'll tilt you guys a little bit so you can see that. Can I get a thumbs up on whether you guys, oh, there. Hopefully it's just a little bit more engaging, and folks are able to feel more excited about taking in good food. Oh, thank you for giving me a little applause. I really earned that. Um, so yeah, from there, you it's a little more exciting. I always think about people decorating cakes or ice cream sundaes, and how interesting it is that we don't necessarily do that with salads. Sometimes you'll get a fun salad with, nasturtiums or something like that on it, but it's a lot less common than a decorated cake. So feel free to decorate your healthy foods as well as your desserts. And now I'm just going to check in the chat and see if people have questions that I was missing. Blender brand that they like. There are so many. I am not going to recommend one. Um, and so many different price points too. So you can read reviews on a lot of sites, and that can probably help you find one that's a good fit for you. Oh, an abundance of cherry tomatoes. They are just such sweet little golden bombs of goodness. All right. Looks like mostly people telling us about their weekends. You're definitely safe to have it in the fridge for 3 days. Hopefully, it's so delicious it doesn't last that long. I wouldn't freeze it. I haven't tried that personally. If you do try it and it turns out amazing, let us know. But I probably wouldn't freeze it. Um, and yeah, you can totally adjust the batch size too. If you're worried about not being able to consume it fast enough, I would absolutely just scale back the recipe a little bit further. Technically, this recipe said that it made four, but just like you're allowed to measure with your heart when it comes to ingredients, and we're all guessing about is this the right size of tomato, you can also measure with your heart when it comes to your portion size with gazpacho, right? So if you are maybe a little more hungry, or you're just thinking this is the bee's knees, have a little more. If the tomato acid isn't doing it for you, you can absolutely have a little bit less. I hope that's useful for you all. Ooh, okay, texture changed. Yeah, that can happen with things. Um, So if you freeze it, be aware that it may taste amazing, but have a little texture change. Thank you. That's awesome information. That concludes our recipe demonstration for the day. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm dropping in our survey so you can let us know your thoughts. It is anonymous, so if you hated it, please let us know. And I would also encourage you to leave your thoughts, especially if you haven't left them on a recipe demonstration before. It always really helps us to know what we could be doing better or what you're enjoying. Take care, everybody, and have an amazing weekend.